Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Happy weekend. Happy weekend. Press conference reaction right here, right now. There's a couple of quotes coming out already, but straight off the bat, Shreyas, Anthony potentially to start and Region still not available. Talk to me about that. How much of a blow is that? Because we still don't have a senior left back available.
Yeah. I think the bigger problem right now is that left back position. I think that we not having a natural fullback in that position is actually costing us a lot because as good as Amrabat is in that left back position, we can still see that his best qualities we can actually see that once he's playing alongside Casemiro in that midfield. Until that time comes, he will be playing in that left back position because there is basically no one that we can deploy out there who might actually do a better job than him in that position. Um, I think before Reguilon got injured, he was by far one of our better players in this team. Showed a lot of energy moving forward. I think he was, one of our better players. Formed a very good relationship on that left hand side as well. Very unfortunate that he got injured because he was supposed to be the guy, who we got in as the emergency signing. That if people get injured, he comes in. But now that he's injured as well, there is a big crisis in that left back position, not having anyone who can actually, do that job for us. And I think with Anthony, personally, I would say it's a good call that he's come in and perhaps might even be starting the next game. The reason being, I think with players like Anthony, the biggest, the best way to actually get the, most out of them is by constantly, getting them minutes. And I think once he starts to, play like 3 to 4 games in a row, that match sharpness and, that fitness, those fitness levels actually, are able to reach a satisfactory point. Maybe we can see his level actually elevate a bit as well because he's still very young, so there is still a lot of development and a lot of things that will be happening throughout the course of Anthony's career. And I think everyone knows that he's one of the players that is Ten Hag's, he's one of Ten Hag's go-to players in that lineup.
Yeah.
So I think for any manager, having those sort of players available is important. That,
Yeah.
those 3 or 4 players in a team, you need them to be available for a manager to play his best football. And I think right now Rashford, Bruno, and Anthony are 3 of those players that he relies on the most. And it's very very sad that those players that he relies on the most are the ones who are actually letting him down a lot.
Yeah. Well, we're going to stick with the theme of wingers. We're going to talk about Jadon Sancho and Marcus Rashford. So everybody who's tuning in, get your questions in. Let me know your thoughts about this Brentford game as we go into it. And also leave a like on the video for us if you can. There was rumours, Shreyas, about Jadon Sancho. I even put it in the WhatsApp myself. There was people putting on Twitter that he's arrived at Carrington and maybe he's coming back and blah, blah, blah. Them rumours have been firmly distinguished because Erik Ten Hag has confirmed that he is still unavailable for selection at the moment. Is this written on the wall for him to go back to Dortmund, let's say? In January, do you reckon? Because Romano's just put now remains unavailable for selection. No substantial changes, despite reports seeing him arrive at Carrington. So yeah, what do you think about Jadon Sancho's future? Is it over? Do you think?
I think it is over. Personally, I think it is over because throughout the course of Ten Hag's managerial career as well, like I've seen him manage at a lot of clubs, and the way that he managed his players at Ajax, you could see if players were not even, doing the things that he particularly wanted them to do on the pitch. If they weren't doing that, they were shipped off. I remember there was a player called Noah Lang, who very gifted footballer, very talented footballer, but he wasn't doing the things that Ten Hag wanted him to do on the pitch, and he was shipped off the next window. So imagine what Ten Hag would do to a person who hasn't even been performing that well, hasn't really been around the starting 11, and then he goes out and practically calls out the manager on a social media platform, hasn't apologized for it, and is actually causing a lot of disturbances in the dressing room, might even have leaked stuff with the press, and I don't know how many journalists. I don't see any way in which Sancho actually, has a future at Manchester United now, because I still think Ten Hag will live this season at United. I think this season is a given sure shot that he will be there at the club, no doubt about it. And I seriously doubt that Ten Hag would, miss out on the opportunity of actually letting go of Sancho. I don't even think it will be a loan deal. I think it will be a permanent move wherever he leaves, whether it's a Dortmund or wherever he has to go. Because I think with players like this, Ten Hag would love to actually, get rid of this sort of a profile or this sort of an attitude of a player. If he and people still don't understand why the Sancho situation will not, it won't reach that, compromise situation from either the side of the player or either the side of the manager, because the way he conducted himself during the whole Ronaldo situation, someone who is, before Ten Hag came in, was performing for us week in and week out, got the most goal contributions for us, was by far one of the, players who would say, they are a sure shot starter in this team and might elevate the level of us next season, because perhaps under Ten Hag he'll be getting more opportunities to score. If Ten Hag was as ruthless as he was during Ronaldo, I don't see him being any lenient with the likes of Jadon Sancho, who was actually not even be performing. Like with Ronaldo, you can at least say that, he has a lot of stuff that he's coming from, and he can say that I should be starting week in and week out. I don't see that with Jadon Sancho.
It's a very good point you make there, because this consistency now, there's a pattern with it, isn't there? You've seen it with De Gea, you've seen it with Ronaldo, you've seen it with Maguire dropping in to a certain extent, and now you've seen it with Sancho, you've seen it with Rashford when he dropped in for the Wolves game.
Yeah.
So he's setting discipline and standards there, and you can't turn back on that, because once you do it once, the cracks are there then, and it'll start happening again and again. So I obviously believe fully that Ten Hag will stand firm on this. Dan Errington says, I wouldn't start Anthony over Palestri at the minute. I think Streyas would probably agree with that. Peter Curia says, we hope Onana doesn't play tomorrow. I don't know who we or what that group means, but we're certainly not part of that, because I think he should start. I wouldn't drop him personally. And has Ten Hag got the cojones to bench Rashford? Well, we're going to talk about Marcus Rashford now, because there's been a couple of quotes on him. On his form at the moment, he said it's normal not to be always at the same levels. Everyone knows the quality of him. Also, the opposition knows. But if Rashi is doing things right and the team is doing things right, putting him in the right places, then it's up to him. Everyone at United backs him. The whole team supports him and believes in him. I'm sure that it'll change and this will pass. What is he specifically getting wrong at the moment for you, Marcus Rashford?
If I have to actually, say what is actually, keep him, actually pushing him back a little bit, is his decision making. Because if you have to see the game against Galatasaray, his dribbling was on point. Like he absolutely ripped apart Sasha Bowie on that, left hand flank.
Well,
yeah, I think on that left hand side, he was by far one of the most effective players when it came to dribbling, when it came to beating a player. So you could, in that game, you could see that Rashford is playing much better. He is taking on his players. He is running. He's running through, getting in behind. Apart from a decision making, he absolutely terrified that back line of Galatasaray. There was numerous opportunities when he should have taken a shot, but he went in with a pass. I think he still has that, kind of thing going on his brain that I need to be squaring the ball a lot more, which I haven't been doing a lot, because I don't remember Rashford actually taking even a single shot in that Galatasaray game. Every single opportunity he got, he passed the ball in. One cross, I would say...
Square it. When he had the opportunity, when he was just about to shoot, even I said square it, and when he did it, I was like, oh, maybe he should have shot. So in his head, you can tell he's having this war in his head in here with like all the criticism that he's receiving.
Yeah, because there was an opportunity where he was just bombing off from the right-hand side. Bruno was making a run centrally. He could... Last season, Marcus Rashford would have slotted that in the net. This season, he went in with the pass. I think it has to do with confidence. I think right now his confidence is a little low. But what is good to see is that his dribbling and his, running down the flanks, those two things have come back, which we needed as well. So I think, slowly and steadily, we are also seeing a good relationship between Højlund and Rashford form as well. That cross in and the header that Højlund scored, I think perfect chemistry, perfect sync. So I think with time, gradually it will become even better and better. And I don't have a doubt about Marcus Rashford that, he won't come good. I think, at the end of the season, once again, Rashford will be, on the topmost, levels when it comes to goal contributions. We all know that, he'll hit that level. It's not that Rashford will underperform completely this season. It will take him time, but he'll get there. So, yeah, go on.
No, I was just going to say, I think it's consistency in general, innit, with individual players or as a team. And Ten Hag's been speaking on that as well. He said, consistency, that is the problem we are struggling with in parts of the games, in big parts. We do a lot of things right, but we have moments where we struggle, and in such moments we can't survive. We need to do the right things, be consistent, and do it like before. So definitely you can mark such a moment, like when we score or when we concede a goal, we have to step up. It's difficult to fix problems, but you do the research and you look at it. We've spoken about it, how we can improve, and we make some agreements about that. I think it's more than one factor. Concentration is one, but there's other things as well. And I think that's interesting, because it has happened after every time we've scored, we always seem to concede straight away.
5 minutes we concede. 5 minutes we concede.
Always. I don't get why. Like, is it a mental block? Are we just like
Lapses in concentration, midfield not being awake enough? Because it the thing is, if there is one player I actually feel like very very sad about, it's Rasmus Højlund. Like this player, he's come in. If in that Galatasaray game, even the game we had before that against Crystal Palace in the league, his hold-up play was amazing. Like the way he was even able to dribble centrally, the way he was spreading the play out on the wings as well. I think for the first time, I would say that the striker has been one of our more consistent players on the field, and the way he scored those 2 goals against Galatasaray, like they're pure number 9 goals. The way he scored them, absolutely smart, cool,
People
composed.
were talking about Ruud van Nistelrooy, weren't they? After
Yeah,
the
they
game,
were. And look, the thing is, even before he came in, both of us were saying that this guy has a lot of potential, and if he gets it right in Manchester United, he'll be scoring. He'll actually be scoring a lot more goals, because we aren't really that much of a side now who plays compact football. We might concede a lot, but we will score a lot as well. And I think slowly and steadily, I think when this defense solidifies a lot more, Lisandro comes back, Luke Shaw and Malacia come back as well. Casemiro and Amrabat move into midfield. Having Bruno, Mount, Rashford, Anthony, Pellistri, Ahmad, Garnacho, he'll have a lot of opportunities.
Exciting, doesn't it? Just naming them players, I think it sounds exciting and its potential. I just don't want Rasmus Højlund to become a part of this environment where sometimes they get sucked in a little bit, the form dampens, and it's not quite
he's
right.
Still a youngster. He's still a youngster. It will happen that those downs in particular games, like over the course of 30 games, he might not have 30 world-class games, but it will happen because he's still a very very young player. But from what I'm seeing from him, he has a lot of potential, and I think right now in that attacking line, he's the most deadly player we have. He's more deadly than Rashford as of now. So I think if you see our squad on paper, like just on paper, if you see our team with the those injured players actually coming back as well, Luke Shaw, Lisandro coming back, Wan-Bissaka coming back, Kobe Mainoo coming back, Casemiro, Amrabat in midfield, Mount, Bruno, Ahmad coming back into the mix as well. It looks like a very exciting team on paper. Yeah. The thing is,
you just need to get them all together.
That's exactly. Integrating all of those players together is right now what is keeping us from getting results. But the way Ten Hag wants this team to play, we've seen glimpses of it working. Like we have seen that this style has longevity. This style can stabilize and work. But right now we just don't have the players for this type of play to actually click. Maybe Ten Hag makes. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, let me put you in there because you just give me the perfect segue to the next quote that's come out from the press conference. He said, "We had to make changes in the lineup almost every game, and the routine changes. You make mistakes as a team, and the opponent takes benefit from it. So we need to be on the same page. We need communication in such moments to be well organised, and you can't get away from it." I'm not using it as an excuse because we said after the Brighton game, the amount of money they spent on that team, it was like, what, 40 million pounds. They played us off the park. So we're not using it as an excuse, but when you try to implement a certain style and a philosophy, especially if you're tweaking it from last season and you don't have 8 players available in order to do it, it is impossible, isn't it? Like, I actually have sympathy for Erik Ten Hag's position, and all these people that are saying Ten Hag out and all this kind of nonsense. I'm just like, you don't understand that any coach in world football right now, under these circumstances, under them owners,
won't be performing.
I genuinely don't see him doing it. Maybe they'll have a bit of a decent run of form, or they'd make a tweak. I don't know, but I think it's almost an impossible job.
It is.
Team manager absolutely swallowed up. He also mentioned about there being a hangover after the Carabao Cup win. He said, "Fact, we dropped levels and we have to get back to those levels, and these are the reasons for it, but still, it's not acceptable." So he accepts that after the Carabao Cup, there's been a significant drop-off. And to be fair, I completely forgot about that. Obviously, the final weren't great in itself, was it? It was kind of one of the performances. You scored 2 in the first half, and then you see it out. But there was promising things last season. The defence in general, keeping clean sheets, and that's just got completely flipped on his head. We're conceding more goals than ever. I think we said in the preview yesterday, I'm sure we've conceded more than Brentford, or we've conceded 10 and Brentford have conceded 11. So we are leaking like a tap at the minute. And with Amrabat still being there now, I don't know about tomorrow.
Yeah,
I was feeling positive.
I think the biggest point is the core of our defense is gone. Like 2 players from the defensive line are gone right now. Luke Shaw is gone, Lisandro is gone, even Wan-Bissaka is gone, and they were very important for us to actually maintain those clean sheets during the course of last season. And not having players playing in their natural positions does cost a manager a lot. And I would say all of those people saying Ten Hag out, Klopp had a horrible run last season. Like if you saw Liverpool's performances last season and the kind of run of form, if you take out the last 7 to 8 games and judge them on during the course of the first 20 or 25 games, they were horrible. Even if you look at Mikel Arteta's second and third season as well, it wasn't great. It took him time, and Ten Hag came in third during his first season with no striker on the field. In certain games, practically playing with 10 men, no squad depth, 3 major issues surrounding the squad, big personalities leaving the team. Second season in has almost an entire 11 of players injured. Has to play players out of position. Once again has to deal with drama surrounding the club. 3 big things dealing already, and it's just been like what 7 or 8 games now, and he has dealt with 3 big things already. So for any manager to succeed, it is going to be hard at Manchester United. And I think right now, if we have any hope of actually succeeding this season, getting anything out, it can only work under Ten Hag. No other manager can come in and take us to, I would even argue, top 4 if it's not Ten Hag.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. Let me read out a couple more comments. Dan Evinson says, I also think we need to play Dallo left back and put Lindelof right back, Maguire centre back and put Amrabat next to Casemiro in the middle. He may do that tomorrow. I disagree with that because,
Even I do.
as mentioned today, Lindelof right back, Atletico Madrid under Ragnick. We all remember it. Wasn't great there at all.
And I think the biggest point about putting Lindelof on the fullback position is you can only put him in the fullback position when you don't have physical wingers. And when you look at that Brentford side, they've got Mbuemo, they've got Wisa, they've also got Mikel Damsgaard as well in that position. So there are a lot of physical wingers in that team. And Lindelof is not great when it comes to dealing with physical players. And I think even right now, Lindelof hasn't been performing that great. So to put him out of position, it might not be that wise of a move. I think maybe we see some tweaks, but I don't see that tweak being Lindelof.
Yeah, I don't think Lindelof's been amazing this season so far. I think last season when he came in and done a job there when Lisandro got injured,
he was good.
I thought he was really, really good. This season, I'm a little bit umming and ahhing about him. So I actually would bring Maguire in. I agree with the Maguire thing because he performed pretty well in the Carabao Cup. I might be eating my words and he might perform, make a mistake tomorrow and then equally get him out the fucking team. But I do think there are changes to be made. It's just how many you can, because with the personnel that we've got, it's mainly attacking options where we can tweak it the most. Your place in the Cosmos says, I can't see any other manager in the Prem waiting so long to make changes or bringing Donny and Slabhead on when we're losing. Ten Hag out, says your place in the Cosmos. Wow. Strong feelings there. Gerald Agba says, we hope Man U will start to shine again. I'm with you there, Gerald. It's not about that. It's about weird decisions. Ten Hag is fucking up big time. I mean, your place in the Cosmos going in strong there on Ten Hag. I mean, everyone's entitled to opinion. That's absolutely fine. We've got Lumen saying Bark at the United stand. Barks at the United stand? I don't get that. Am I missing something there? I have no idea.
I don't know.
Name me one defender that has played well for United this season. I mean, Varane had a good start to the season, didn't he? But then, again, even Varane in the past couple of games, it's like, to be honest, I think Serge Reguilon since he came in.
Reguilon. Exactly. Reguilon has been a best defender. I would even argue before getting injured, Wan-Bissaka was one of our better defenders.
Oh, yeah.
And I think if I have to take out that Galatasaray game, Dallo was performing well. Against Galatasaray, he had a very bad game.
Well, if Wan-Bissaka was playing against Zaha in that game, I don't.
Not happening. That goal never happens. That goal actually never happens. Zaha would never have been able to even cut in if Wan-Bissaka was playing on that right hand side. But we have to make do with Dallo, and for us, we can just wish for Dallo to once again revert back to form because he's the only natural fullback we've got at the club right now.
Yeah. One thing I think we really need to focus on, and I mean, every time I've done the pros and cons after the game and the videos, I'm always noticing midfield not tracking runners and them cutting it back. Brighton game, Arsenal game, Ødegaard, it's happening so many games at the moment. And that's the basic things. People blaming Casemiro and stuff like that. And his stats, Casemiro stats haven't been the best either, but he's he's almost having to mark like 3-4 players, it seems. When they have overloads in certain areas, we struggle, don't we?
He gets overrun. And if I'm being honest, take out the defensive side of things and judge him on the basis of when he's moving forward. Like the vision he has and the kind of passes he makes during games. I think he's been one of the best passers we've had in that midfield in this season. Bruno's not been there. Eriksen even hasn't been there.
Yeah.
Mason
On
Mount,
the ball, there's no question
yeah,
with Casemiro at the moment.
I don't, and I think there was one opportunity during the Galatasaray game as well. During the first 15 minutes, he chipped the ball, went over every single defender. Hannibal collected it, but he took it on his chest, and it was such a heavy touch that it just went out of bounds. So the thing is, with Casemiro, you know what you will get out of him. But the thing is, because he doesn't have that support right now, and there are almost like 4 players actually bombing on, and he's left alone in that midfield, that's where the problem happens. And because we've got players playing out of position in Amrabat, maybe if Amrabat moves to midfield, that never happens because then you've got 2 solid players in there. Maybe if Kobe Menu comes back into the fray, Amrabat still plays left back and Kobe Menu is there. Maybe that pressure actually reverts back. But right now, because Casemiro is alone, because there is a big gap, and we've seen that in Galatasaray as well. There is a big gap between the midfield and the defense. There's a huge gap. Players like Icardi were able to exploit it, but when Mertens came on, he was just able to rip apart our entire line, and that was the biggest reason why we conceded goals left, right, and center. I think the fact is the only player we've got right now who can come into that midfield is Hannibal, who I will still say he's very young, very raw, is not there yet. Yes, he has made some good appearances, but he's not that player you can rely on. Right now, if there's a player you can rely on, I would say I still rank Kobe Menu higher than Hannibal Mabry. And maybe if Kobe Menu is able to come back, this team might be able to perform better. But right now, there's just too much on Casemiro's plate to deal with.
Well, I want to discuss Hannibal, but let me just read out a few more comments. Make sure you subscribe into the channel if you haven't already and leave a like on the video for us. We've already discussed quite a few of the quotes coming out from the press conference in regards to Marcus Rashford, Serge Reguilon, Jadon Sancho, Antony, the team as a whole and the consistency levels. Pravav is in the chat. Pick up to Pravav. I hope you're good, mate. Hope you have a nice weekend as well. Thank you for tuning in. We've got Sam saying, who's we supposed to bring on? No depth. So many people injured. Hannibal for a start, so your place in the Cosmos is pushing for Hannibal there. Just shows you we don't have the depth to change games. That's the issue tonight, especially when we have this many injuries. Ivan Sovereignreach says where to watch the press conference. Listen to it here. Don't worry about it. Relying, no mate, bringing him on for his athleticism and aggression. We're losing with 6 minutes to go. He brought on Donner, so we're relying on Donner. And then Sylvia's Charles says too often Casemiro gets the ball and lobs one-time pass up front and lose possession. This is predictable and we have to work hard to regain possession. I think, though, the way Ten Hag wants to play is that quick transition football.
That's the way he wants them to play.
This is an instruction that's being given to Casemiro and Bruno likewise. Because if you look at the personnel that we have, we've spoken about this many times before, we have players who aren't great at ball retention. They like doing things quickly first time. Mount, Bruno, Rashford, these guys like that kind of thing. So it suits their style. That hasn't been able to be implemented properly because of everything that's going on at the moment. So, yes, with what I agree, sometimes we need a bit more control at times. But look at his first time pass for Rashford. Højlund's goal against Galatasaray, the first one, that pass came from Casemiro, first time. If you don't play that pass, we don't score.
Never happens. So Martial's goal against Palace as well in the Carabao Cup. The way he flicked that ball up for Martial, world class.
Yeah. And isn't Casemiro our top scorer at the minute, or probably equal in all comps with Højlund, I'm guessing?
Yeah, he is. I think he's a top scorer. Yes.
He must be in it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, look, like he's
a top scorer
contributing in certain ways, but I do think he needs help. I think if he was to put an N'Golo Kante alongside Casemiro or Amrabat when he's available to bring him in there, I think you will see such a different midfield when them two are in there because they're combative, energetic, they can both cover in that position and be comfortable there. So
I think the moment even Malacia comes back, or even the moment Kobe Menu comes back, this team's performances changes considerably. Considerably, it changes because I think at the start of this season, if I'm judging just on the basis of preseason, Kobe Menu was a starter in this team. According to Ten Hag in the blueprint he had for the season, Kobe Menu was a big part of it. Yeah. And he was delivering.
Pushing him, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was delivering, and I think people forget that in that the preseason match that we had against Arsenal, he absolutely bullied Declan Rice, even Martin Odegaard and Kai Havertz, who are three very seasoned players in the Premier League, and this guy is just a youngster who's just come in. So I think we just need some players to come back. I still don't know what's up with Malacia or when he comes back because I haven't really been seeing anything on him. Like even when
Well, apparently,
yeah,
Erik Hag's been saying on injuries, this is what's been coming out. He doesn't want to give away the nature of the injury for whatever reason, like a privacy thing. I don't know what the specifics was, but yeah, that's why I remember McTominay when he got injured. The last time he didn't really mention anything about that. There was one with Dalot last season where no one knew a thing about it. So I don't know. He's no idea why he's doing it. But yeah, Dan Erickson saying, when's Ahmad back? Do you
after
know?
international break.
Yeah, so Ahmad got injured, obviously in pre-season. It said 4 months from then, so you're talking July, August, September, October. Probably end of October, I would say, start of November for Ahmad to come back. And I'm excited about that. Can't wait for him to come into the team and see what he can do. In a weird way, I never want a player to get injured, but because he did get injured, that meant we kept hold of him, so he might actually get an opportunity.
I think he will. I think now that these players are going to come in, I think all three young wingers will get chances this season. Because we are still in the running for all comps. We are still in the running in all competitions. They are going to get chances, and the way we play, three games a week or 2 games a week, we need depth, and these players will come in and do a job in those games.
Yeah, 100%. Shreyas, obviously, he wasn't on the preview yesterday, was you? So just give us a little bit of a team prediction, if you will, and a score prediction as well. How do you see the game playing out?
I wasn't really that confident during the preview. Even in the chat, I said 3-1 to Brentford.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah. About that.
And I just don't feel confident at all because no Luke Shaw, no Lisandro Martinez. I just hope that when Lisandro Martinez comes back, he's fully fit because I think he'll be a massive change. Perhaps maybe he can provide Casemiro with that support in that back line. But I really wish that Lisandro comes back soon. But I think it will still be the same.
Sorry to put you in there. Just on that. With Lisandro being missing, do you think that's obviously, you saw the situation that happened with Onana in the Galatasaray game? The 2 players we've got at the back, I mean, Lindelof can play that long pass, but in terms of progressing and the press resistance kind of nature, none of them have it, Varane or Lindelof. So that's obviously a huge issue in it.
It is because, last season when we first started seeing this combination of Lisandro and Varane, I used to say it a lot that the best thing about them is they eliminate each other's weaknesses. Like if there are weaknesses in Lisandro's game, Varane is able to absolutely eliminate them by his presence. Same is the case for Varane and Lisandro. So I think, yes, Lindelof is not able to do the job that Lisandro does. And that's why, but there are certain flaws in Varane's game that seem to get, super amplified in games. And it is a big issue. It genuinely is a big issue. And
balance as well. Like,
there is
no left foot. Inverted foot.
I would say, in a way, if we have a mold of a player who can do the job that Lisandro does, it's Luke Shaw, and he's injured right now.
So that with was it the Barca game where he came in?
Even in the Barca game, in the Man City game at Old Trafford as well, absolutely pocketed Haaland. So I don't see us winning. I genuinely don't see us winning because I think it will be the same defensive line. Onana will start. I'm not saying that Onana will be the reason we lose, but I'll still say Onana will be starting. The backline will be the same because we've got no other player who can come in. I don't see Maguire coming into this team. The same goes for the midfield. I think it will be Casemiro, Mount or Bruno, Casemiro, Hannibal, Bruno, whatever it is. It will still be majority. It will be the same lineup: Højlund, Rashford, and Antony up top. I don't see us winning. And with the way that Brentford have played this season, I remember the first game that they had against Tottenham. When there are flaws in that backline, they are absolutely able to rip apart teams on the counter attack, and that's what they'll be preying on. The kind of spaces that we leave in behind for the opposition teams. Can you imagine instead of Mertens, if Galatasaray had Mbeumo in that team, and he could just walk past our entire defensive line. So I see goals. I still think Højlund will score, but I think we'll lose.
I think equally, you know what's really sticking in my head? Do you know the game last season, Brentford, the mistake that David De Gea made, where he gave it out and passed, just looking at Onana and what he did against Galatasaray, and I'm thinking, if that happens, it's curtains for his career. He cannot make a mistake in that game because that is going to be highlighted to fuck, and everyone's going to be losing the shit, and rightfully so, because he's made a few mistakes now. It's weird, because I don't know how I feel about Onana in a minute. I thought he had the character and the personality to deal with it. And when he came out and did that interview after the first mistake he made, I was like, yeah, I get it. I understand. You know, it's fine. These things happen. Edison makes mistakes. Alisson makes mistakes. These things, you know, they can happen. And then it happens again. And then you're like, in a game, in the Champions League, important game where you needed 3 points, and you've just
it's happened 3 or 4 times already this season.
He's saving as well. What do you think? What do you think about his actual saving? Because I was chatting to my mates about it, and it was like, if you look at the Icardi chip in the Galatasaray game, I think there was a Forest game where Awoniyi, when he goes through and he kind of falls on his ass. Like, are you a bit skeptical about that as well?
On the basis of this season, yes, but if I have to judge him on the basis of last season, no, because during the course of last season in the Champions League, he made the most saves throughout the competition by a landslide in comparison to any other goalkeeper.
He's the best goalkeeper in the competition.
Yes. And you could argue shot stopping, you could argue distribution. Every single thing, he was elite. I think right now, the weight of the shirt might be weighing on him a little bit. And it can happen no matter who. I think if you put even... and if you even put a certain player like Mike Mignon in that United shirt, there will be a pressure, because the position that they're coming in was, actually taken up by someone who was at the club for like 12 or 13 years, was, I would say, one of the best keepers in the world for a majority of that, time span. And people will be judging you on the basis of that. People will be comparing you to the Gea, and no matter how many mistakes that he might have made last season, it is still a very tough comparison to deal with, because he has been one of our most consistent and one of the best players in the world in his position. Absolutely. So give him time. Even when De Gea came in, I really liked him when I first saw him, but it took him time to actually grow into that position. His first season wasn't that great at United. Second season, he was still finding himself. Third season, you could really see what De Gea was all about. Of course, De Gea was very young, and Onana is a much more experienced keeper, but I think Onana will come good. And I think perhaps with having players like Lissandro, it might help his cause. The fact that right now the way we concede attacks, it doesn't really help him a lot either, because he has to do a lot of shot stopping right now.
Facing a lot more shots in it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think we just need to wait it out. And I would say is back the player. Right now, the worst that United fans can actually do is criticize the player, because we've not got any other keeper who can come in and take his position. Not Bayendi, not Tom Heaton. It will be Onana who will be a starting goalkeeper for the entirety of this season. You need to trust the player, you need to trust the manager, support him, because when he gets his confidence back, he can be one of the best goalkeepers on the planet.
Yeah, I agree, Treyas. Let me go to the comments section. There's more and more of you. Leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you love football content. You need something to watch whilst you're on commute, whilst you're in the shower, whilst you're in bed, whatever it is you're doing on this planet right now. Please do click that subscribe button, and we have content every single day and a variety of content as well. If you want to become a Real Red Ultra member for a chance to feature on the show, for exclusive content, a badge next to your name, and loads of other cool perks, please do click the link in the description or click the join button next to the notification bell. It's like £3 a month, or $2.99. I should have said a month it is. So please do consider that. And once we get to 22 members, we'll do a live show, pull names out of a hat, and then one of you guys gets to come on a show with us and talk about whatever the fuck you want, effectively. Your place in the Cosmos says, need Rashi on the right for crossing the ball. He can't do it from the left. He turns in and shoots, played on the right and crosses, and Højlund actually scores a header. I think when you've got Garnacho and Rashford there, you can have that fluidity. But Anthony on the left, I'm not entirely sure. Whenever I've seen him there, it doesn't, it's not overly convincing. So, do you think United need to sign another centre-back in January? We should have got one in the summer. Should have got fucking Kim Min-jae in the summer, shouldn't we, for the price? If you look at him at Bayern Munich now, you're like, oh my God.
Best defender in Bundesliga. Best defender in the Bundesliga.
Top level Kim Min-jae. Really, really good.
I really wanted us to get him. Like, I genuinely really wanted us to get Kim Min-jae. And for 50 million, he wasn't.
United.
I hope so.
The exact same score yesterday in the preview.
4-2 United.
Yeah, I think so. Either 3-2 or 4-2, I think I said.
You still said... I think right now the scoreline doesn't matter. The result does. Win or loss.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't care if it's 9-8. Like, so yeah, just win the game. That's all that matters to me.
Yeah.
Sean, all the way from Bangkok, big up to Sean, saying due to injuries, we should go with a 3-5-2 with Anthony at left wing back as he has the work rate and keeps the shape. Have Amra Batman on the left of midfield, 3 to let him shift over and cover. Has Ten Hag ever gone?
No,
So
never.
back three.
Never in his career has he gone with the back three.
I remember Ollie doing it when we got battered and he ended up, I think, was it against Tottenham? He played Cavani and Ronaldo.
Yeah. We lost to Liverpool 5-0. He went with a back five against Tottenham. We won 2-0.
Fuck this. Back five. Yeah, fucking, you know, and it worked for like one game and then it was like, yeah, you can't do this anymore.
And the point is, and I'll genuinely say this, we don't have 3 centre-backs who can actually come in and do a job. We don't. You don't have the 3 centre-backs even to play a back 3. Because who will you play in the back 3? Varane, Lindelof, Maguire, Varane, Lindelof, Evans. Against Brentford, who have got pacey wingers, Evans and Maguire won't work.
To be fair, Brentford used to play a back 5, didn't they?
Yeah.
But I think they've gone more like 4-3-3 now, so they'll probably just match them in the midfield.
They've got Norgard playing much more as a defensive midfielder in there, and Janelt, and one more player they've got in the midfield who try and progress forward.
No, I don't see Ten Hag changing. You know how stubborn he can be. You know Anthony's going to be on that right-hand side. You know Rashford's going to start probably. Højlund will be up top, like Shreya has said. It's probably going to be in midfield, Casemiro, Bruno, Mount, and then you're going to have Amrabat, Lindelof. Maybe Maguire will come in, Varane, and then Diego Dalot and Onana at the back. But the important thing is, like Shreya said there, and rightfully so, we get the fucking result. Because if you lose this game tomorrow, it's a crisis. It's a bad, bad crisis. And you're looking at the league. We're 10th in the league at the moment. If we lose to Brentford, you drop even down. You're talking like 15.
We need someone back. The thing is, our fate can only change after this international break, because then we'll genuinely have Luke Shaw back at the club. You'll probably be actually seeing updates on Malacia. You'll see Reguilon coming back as well. So having 2 out-and-out fullbacks who can play in that left-back position will be a big boost for us. Perhaps maybe, you never know. Reguilon comes back, Luke Shaw comes back. Luke Shaw gets, walks into that centre-back position alongside Varane, and then Reguilon plays on from that left-back position. Anything can happen. So I think the moment you get at least one fullback fit, and then perhaps Kobe Mainoo is coming back, and perhaps Wan-Bissaka is coming back as well, then maybe this unit will start performing a lot better. But I still don't know what the updates are for these players like Mainoo, because I saw him training a lot, but there's still been no update when he will come back into this team.
The main issue is we're not going to have our full starting, like, best 11 until the new year.
Yeah.
That's the thing, because Lissandro's out for 2 to 3 months. I think Shaw comes back at the end of October, start of November. So, yeah, it's going to be a long road, but we need a result. Not just with the 3 points, but the fact that we've got an international break after it. I don't want to sit on a loss to Brentford for 2 weeks.
It was very sad after Arsenal. We can't really have that sort of atmosphere again.
And England and Maguire starting for him, and I'm just like, none of this nonsense. So let's hope we get a result. There will be a show tonight, whether it's a FIFA stream or EAFC as it's called nowadays, a bit of foot champs, or it might be a news show. I'm not entirely sure yet, but there will
something
be a
might break. I have a feeling something might break today.
Might break as well. Yeah, probably my mentality, because I'm sick of United losing. That's what's going to break. Please do leave a like on the video for us. Drop us a follow on social media, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Real Reds Talk. Head over there and drop us a follow if you aren't already. All the handles are at the bottom of your screen. Like I said, make sure you come and tune in tonight with the lads, whether it's a FIFA stream or whether it's a breaking news show. The game's tomorrow, so we'll have the pre-match build-up and the match review, of course, with that. And then you've got a members video dropping as well, where I think 2 weeks ago, I did a video reacting to some viral tweets and some online Twitter beef between people in this kind of United community. So that was interesting. I'm going to do that again. And like I said, if you want to become a member, click the link in the description. Big thank you to Shreyas for coming on. Do you have any final words, sir?
Yeah, believe in Ten Hag.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's probably the best way to end it. Please believe in Ten Hag, and hopefully he can turn it around. We'll see you guys in the next one. Have a lovely weekend, guys, and take care. See you in a bit.